Aldrin, welcome. Thanks for joining us. So she remains Western Cape Premier. She apologised unreservedly and she vacates her position on all decision-making policy. So essentially she looks like a bit of a powerless persona within the party, but is she still really?
Well, certainly not a powerless persona. If you consider where this debacle started all the way in March when she first sent out this tweet, she defended the tweet on various occasions, on various platforms, as well as in front of the DA's the federal executive as well. And, you know, I was just saying earlier on, you know, one of the questions is who walks out of this press briefing or out of this tweet debacle as the person who has won the debate or has won this battle, and certainly Helen Zille has won this battle. She still keeps a job as the Premier of the Western Cape, which many have been calling, including the EFF, that she be recalled, that she steps down from that role, because we also know that the ANC in the Western Cape is also pushing a motion of no confidence against Helen Zille. As per the tweets that she's sent. But something quite interesting, though, is that this is not the first time Helen Zille has apologized. She's apologized in a tweet, I think immediately on the same day. She even made the submission in the submission that she's given the FedEx just before the decision was taken to suspend her. She made that submission that I've already apologized, and it's not true that the leader of the party says that I haven't apologized before. So she's already accused the leader of the party of lying, of spreading this falsehood, when she insists that I have apologized. But now we have another apology. What makes this apology different, I guess, would be her admitting that I see that it has caused harm and it may have been hurtful to some South Africans, and that's the reason why I am apologizing. And also the decision, which is of course a political decision, that she steps down from all the leadership structures of the party, including the provincial council, the federal council, as well as the federal executive of the DA. So that in its own is something new, certainly, but many would be calling for her to step down as Premier of the Western Cape as well.
What does this do to the DA itself? We know that 2019 elections coming up are crucial for the DA, for the ANC. How does this look for the DA? How does it affect them? How do they handle this?
Well, you know, the weird thing about these incidents, social media incidents, is that we need to test them against what happened before. What happened after Diane Kwala Barnett reposted, I think it reposted a Facebook post that the party felt that was insensitive as well, and she was held to account she was DC'd rather, and there were findings made against her. Did that have any impact whatsoever on the DA's run during the local municipal government elections? Certainly not. They still gained the vote.
Maybe
that's the thing. 2019 is how many? It's 2 years from two years from the 2019 elections. Would people still remember that Helen Zille sent out this tweet? Will people still remember how she defended the tweet? But will people still remember that she actually apologized for sending the tweet as well? Because certainly she still carries this leadership role as the Premier of the Western Cape. And as Musi Mamani has said, that he believes in her work, he believes in her leadership, in her leadership in the Western Cape, and believes that she should continue in serving the people of the Western Cape.
You mentioned briefly that there will be calls for her to step down as Western Cape Premier. So do you think this is not finished? Well,
certainly not finished outside of the DA. Within the DA, it's a done and dusted case. There's nowhere else to move from here. The DC is done. They will not continue with the DC. They've now reached this political settlement. But then outside of the DA, you have the likes of the EFF, who has gone into agreements or vote agreements with the DA. They hate to call it a coalition in municipalities such as the city of Joburg, Nelson Mandela Bay, as well as the city of Tshwane. You have those agreements with these political parties, and the EFF, the Julius Malema last week, saying that they will try to push for Helen Zille to resign, or otherwise they will have to reconsider their vote for the DA in these various municipalities. And one could understand why you'd have what we call a left-wing party like the EFF making such an assertion because of the tweets that Helen Zille has sent out. I wonder, though, that now that she's come out publicly, she's stated this through her own mouth, this is now not through Twitter, that she apologized unreservedly for the tweets that she has sent out, and she understands that the pain that it might have caused South Africans, whether the EFF would take a step back. However, though, the ANC in the Western Cape, I guess that they will still continue, probably try and push this motion of no confidence against the DA, and whether anyone would be able to influence the DA caucus in the Western Cape to vote in a motion of no confidence against Helen Zille. Quite interestingly, now we had the federal executive chairperson James Self on radio speaking about this decision that they've reached, and he speaks about how the DA does not instruct its caucuses on how to vote. And per se, speaking about this issue around the motion of no confidence, what will this mean? What will happen in the Western Cape should the ANC be successful in trying to convince some DA members that that Helen Zille should step down? But I think another interesting one is a question that I asked her towards the end, is whether anyone has approached her to start her own political party. And she said, yep, I have been approached, but I said no. What does this mean?
Yeah.
Because you know, you have...
She's still very hands-on.
Exactly. And you know, you need to understand that you have members within the DA somewhat disagreeing with the decision that the federal executive took to suspend her. You have what they call the minority with inside the DA. You have some believe that Helen Zille still has a strong hold on the party. Some even argue that the reason why she hasn't been expelled, or the DC isn't going ahead, and you have this decision being taken, this political decision being taken, it's because of pressure from funders as well. So certainly she still does have a lot of influence within the party.
Aldrin, thanks so much. We'll leave it there. Our Aldrin Sampear, who was at that briefing where they have announced the future of Helen Zille within the DA.